What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I haven't posted in like a week. I'm trying to do this new thing where I'm letting my videos sort of simmer a little bit, allow them to collect views, so that way maybe the algorithm will boost it a little bit better. So I'm not gonna like spam upload unless the video's just not doing good, and I'll probably upload another video to try to compensate. So today I've got a pretty interesting video. This is a request by a friend. Um, he asked me to review the movie. He's gonna have a couple recommendations on here, and I'm gonna go back to reviewing Marvel, Star Wars, Sopranos, a couple of other recommendations that I've gotten through the YouTube channel. But this movie in particular is another Scorsese classic, The Wolf of Wall Street, and obviously, I think this is a movie that most people have seen at least once, but I'm sort of new to cinema in terms of like watching particular directors. Obviously, my whole thing is I like three franchises, and I watch just all of that content. So trying to navigate this world of cinema has been a really interesting time for me. It's not really like made me dislike what I watch any any at all. I haven't disliked what I like. But I have learned to enjoy film as an art more, and that's cool too. So it's just in more things that I enjoy, which is it's good for me. Wolf of Wall Street follows I think his name is Jordan Belfort. Hopefully I got that right. Or Jordan Belmont. It was one of those two. Sorry if I got that wrong. It was one of the two. Um it was Belfort. I think it was Belfort. Played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Basically, this guy was called the Wolf of Wall Street because he sort of like was able to sell these penny stocks for insane amounts of money just because this person selling got way more commission. He was able to basically scam tons of people, and it definitely was not legal, but it still happened. So the movie itself is awesome in terms of the way that DiCaprio's charisma really shines. You're really able to get a lot out of that. Um, the concept itself, I'm not really that interested in the stock market at all, or in movies that sort of glorify capitalism. This movie sort of glorifies capitalism, but there's also a lot that it does to sort of show how dangerous capitalism can be, right? Pretty much every movie that either Scorsese or any sort of crime director has done with a rich person, it tends to show their rise and their fall. And Goodfellas did this. I've watched Scarface, obviously that does it. And this movie does it as well. So we're seeing Jordan's climb from um, sort of like he was a small guy at Wall Street. We never see him fully fail or what he used to be way back when, but we see him as sort of a guy who's just trying to get up in the world. And we see him become this practically a billionaire. I think he was very, very close to $1 billion and a very, very rich man. We see his fallout with his ex-wife, and honestly, it was one of the more intriguing aspects of the movie to me. I believe the ex-wife was played by the girl who played the mother in How I Met Your Mother, and I hate that show. So it and I hate it because of her. And it's not necessarily the actress's fault. I hate that character. Um, so if I'm right, and I think I am, it's the same actress, and I think that's funny. Obviously, his second wife is played by Margot Robbie. I love Margot Robbie. I think Margot Robbie, obviously, she played Harley Quinn, in the DC extended universe, and I also think she'll continue to play the character. Hopefully, that's the hope. So that's really mostly what I'm familiar with her work as far as that goes. I also have watched obviously Barbie was a big movie this year, and Wolf of Wall Street now. So I'm not like super familiar with their work in terms of like outside the DCEU, but I have watched all those movies. Um, Margot Robbie is spectacular in this movie. She's beautiful in this movie. Um, Her character is also compelling. It's not like she's some throwaway, like here, there's some eye candy. Which I was a little afraid it was going to be like that, and it wasn't. Margot Robbie was able to actually act, and it wasn't just eye candy. Um, of course, this movie is incredibly unrealistic because DiCaprio is dating someone who is older than 25 in the movie. Although she might not have been at that time, but they're together for enough time that she's definitely not 25 by the time that he divorces her. So clearly that is a bad job by Martin Scorsese in terms of realism. I don't think she was 25 when they broke up. Maybe I'm off. I know Margot's in her 30s now, so I guess the movie came out in 2012. It's possible. Um, this movie does a great job of showing DiCaprio's character, and showing his rage, but also like we still root for him the entire time. Like he was straight up like committing child abuse, domestic abuse, and I was still like trying to see him out, trying to get to because it's just that's what happens in movies. You start to centralize stuff around the protagonist. You lose sort of the idea of realism within the movie. Your morals are sort of lost, and you start to root for people you really shouldn't be. A prime example of this is the Netflix show You. I've watched that all four seasons, and you root for Joe Goldberg because even though he's a serial killer, you want to see him get away with it. And he obviously does way worse than DiCaprio does. I mean, DiCaprio commits assault, he commits violence, but he's not killing people. Um, at the same time, he does do some nice things, right? So, Jonah Hill's character is kind of bad. I don't love Jonah Hill as an actor. I think he's great in comedies. This isn't really a comedy. It's marketed as a black comedy, but to me, black comedy doesn't tend to hit super hard, so I don't normally find it funny. Outrageous comedy is really my uh, idea of a good comedy. So Superbad, if Jonah Hill's in, that's a pretty good movie. I just like outrageous stuff. Jonah Hill just doesn't cut it for me. But DiCaprio's character tries to like save Jonah Hill's character. Like he's actually like, hey, you're being. I have a wire on me. Don't implicate yourself. But then of course they find out, and then he goes to jail. Um, but it was just that little sliver where I'm like, well, he's a human. He does care about his coworkers. Now, me personally, um, the one issue with this movie is that it is fictionalized, but it's based on true events. My issue with movies that are based on true events is that you have to limit yourself creatively for at least a little bit. Um, it doesn't mean that the story itself is bad or even that the movie's bad. But there's plenty of things where you're like, well, I wish that could have happened. That would break realism. That would be something that obviously didn't happen. Like, for instance, I wish that he could have ran away from the cops, done more trying to flee the cops. It would have made for more excitement, almost making it like an action movie. But that's because my general biases are I want to see action, I want to see violence, I want to see all of those things. And I think that I'm trying to make the movie into something that's not. I'm not going to deduct points here. I'm just saying that I think this would have made the movie better if it was more to my genre that I enjoy. Um, but I obviously still love this movie. I watched it as I was getting ready to take my last final. I decided to give myself a little I guess it was a 3 hour break. I didn't know at the time, but it became a 3 hour break. And just watch Wolf of Wall Street because I'd never done it before. My friend recommended it to me. And once again, um, Martin Scorsese impresses me. This is only my second Scorsese movie, so I'm not like deep into the lore, I guess, of Scorsese movies, but I did really enjoy it. I think all the characters were played pretty well. Kyle Chandler plays the FBI agent, I'm pretty sure. And it's funny, I'm watching through the MonsterVerse movies, not for the channel, for my own leisure, and he's a main character in two of the movies, so that was really interesting because I was like, I know that guy. I'm like, where do I know him from? And I'm like, oh, he's in Wolf of Wall Street. Trying to point out all the characters that were familiar to me, or all the actors that are familiar to me, and I just thought that was that's a little funny aside. I'm gonna give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. It's got good instances of there is good humor. I know it's not necessarily super funny to me, but there is times where I did laugh. The everyone acts very well. I assume it's directed well. The reason why I can't give it full points there is because honestly, the actors sort of carry the movie. And I don't know how much of the script was written and stuff. It's hard for me to say that something was directed amazingly if there's not like spectacular shots. There was just one shot where I think they're playing pool, and that was really really good. That was good cinematography. But Scorsese, I'm sure, wrote parts of the screenplay, maybe even wrote the whole thing. I didn't check, but I'm assuming he did. And I just really, really enjoyed this movie, and for that, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Scorsese hits once again, slowly becoming my favorite filmmaker, but not quite there yet. There's still plenty of room to grow and plenty of movies that I have to go see before I can really safely call them that. This is gonna clock in at just around 10 minutes for you guys too. I didn't want to make it too long, but I do appreciate you all liking and subscribing. We did lose a subscriber, so we're down to 74 again, but we'll climb back up to 75, no problem. Obviously, we're hunting for 100. That would be sick to have at some point in the near future. Um, I had to kind of unlist a lot of videos, so if you're wondering why my view count drastically went down, that's what happened. But I'm confident we can climb back up to around 5,000, so I'm not too concerned about that. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. It does mean a lot to me, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I love you all. Comment down below any other movies or shows or games. I don't care, whatever the hell you want me to review, and I'll be sure to put them in a list and hopefully get to them. All right, peace.